Maxine Waters just got served a cold plate of facts as President Trump dished out a reminder that the Democrat representative is flailing in a sea of lunacy and people aren't reaching out to help her as she drowns. The disgraced and bitterly angry dinosaur-aged Democrat is constantly referred to as things such as Crazy Maxine or Mad Maxine, and people might wonder why. Perhaps her attitude and low IQ, divisive behavior and persistent need to get people working against things that work, furthering problems rather than being part of the solution, is one reason. Maybe her inability to forge an idea of her own that finally makes sense and helps people would be another. And perhaps the constant downtalking of the president instead of working with the president to solve problems would be just a tip of the iceberg of reasons why she's constantly getting served with hilarious jokes. It's just too easy with her, and she's become the Republicans' greatest weapon since Hillary Clinton toppled down a few steps or Nancy Pelosi stumbled to be coherent. Trump is serving up some logic when he stated that all of Waters' lunatic fringe wordplay will effectively turn Democrats into Republicans. His words weren't that exact, but that's basically what he was getting at. Trump also pointed to Maxine Waters and called her one of the most corrupt people in politics, and considering she doesn't seem to get anything done but run her extremely wide bass fish-shaped mouth, then it's no wonder people think politicians like her are corrupt. How can people think anything else of Maxine Waters when all they see is her screaming and yelling about nonsense instead of hitting the desk and working on real issues? It's like her only job is to hate the president. Trump recently fiddled with his Twitter a bit, something he loves to do, and he just absolutely trashed the Democrats, especially Maxine. Daily Mail wrote, "Crazy Maxine Waters, said by some to be one of the most corrupt people in politics, is rapidly becoming, together with Nancy Pelosi, the face of the Democrat Party. Her ranting and raving, even referring to herself as a wounded animal, will make people flee the Democrats." He wrote, Trump has sought to make Waters, one of the fiercest critics of his administration, the face of the Democratic Party. He attacked her as one of the most corrupt people in politics, a likely reference to a 2010 ethics investigation where Waters was ultimately cleared. 8 years ago, the House Ethics Committee charged Waters with 3 counts of violating House rules and the Federal Ethics Code in connection with her effort to help a bank in which her husband owned stock secure federal bailout funds. She was said to have arranged a 2008 meeting between Treasury officials and representatives with One United Bank. The Ethics Committee said that by trying to assist One United, she stood to benefit directly, because her husband owned a sizable amount of stock that would have been worthless if the bank failed. The committee also accused Waters of violating the spirit of a House rule prohibiting lawmakers from using their positions for financial gain, as well as a government ethics statute banning the dispensing of special favors. Waters denied any wrongdoing and, in September 2012, the House Ethics Committee completed a report clearing Waters of all ethics charges after nearly 3 years of investigation. The 79-year-old Congresswoman, who first took office in 1991, believes Democrats as a whole have engaged in nice guy politics for too long. One of her former aides told the Hill newspaper, "She's definitely pushing people into a place of discomfort," said the former aide, adding that Waters is slowly but surely getting the Democrats to play the game the way Trump plays it. The aide noted the longtime Democratic Congresswoman is aware that she sometimes pushes the envelope and said that Trump's mimicking of Serge Kowalski, a New York Times reporter who has a physical disability, during the 2016 campaign that ignited her fire. That was the moment that really spurred her to speak out against him, the former staffer said. "It was a moment that I think snapped her into accepting this is now our reality and accepting her role as an emerging soldier against this administration." Democratic leaders have distanced themselves from Waters' call to harass administration figures in public. Democratic leaders should boot Maxine Waters out of every event that she appears at. When you're 79 years old and still screaming about the president, then it's time to hang up the gloves and go do something relaxing. People like Maxine Waters are the perfect example of someone who should be forced to retire. What does Maxine do? It's really bad when other Democrats are pulling away from one of their own precious poster grannies. Maxine Waters must resign.